Hello. Sat Shri Akal, Namaskar, Assalamualaikum. Good evening. Welcome to Ideas on Point by TC San. You have tuned into the Friday version of Ideas on Point. Today, the segment is called Pass the Trailer. So we usually, well, we've only had one episode. We reviewed the Netflix series, The Fabulous Lives of Bollywood Wives last week, and we were supposed to be reviewing The Queen's Gambit today with my three friends, Anamika, Puneet, and Renu. But obviously, as you can see, they're not on the side of my screen on this side. So they're not here today, unfortunately, because of unforeseen circumstances. So I'm here by myself, and you'll have to listen to me for the next few minutes. I will be reviewing, or I will be talking about The Queen's Gambit. But before that, just to let you know, you are watching this on TCCN Facebook page. Please like and follow our page for more updates like these. And of course, please follow us and subscribe to us on YouTube channel as well. Details of which are in the caption above. And of course, follow us on Instagram as well at TCCN2. All right, moving on. And of course, as always, I acknowledge Ali Nizami, who is behind the scenes helping us out, putting this live video out today. Thank you, Ali. The Queen's Gambit. A choice for me today was, should I cancel this live broadcast or should I go ahead and do it by myself? Obviously, since I'm here, I didn't cancel this broadcast. I decided to do it by myself in the spirit of Elizabeth Harmon, the lead character of The Queen's Gambit, the Netflix series I am speaking about today. Throughout this series, we're reminded that that she is alone in her journey and passion, and she has to achieve her goals by herself with her own strength. And spoiler alert, she does it by defeating her demons, albeit with the support of her family like friends. So I had heard a lot about this series. It had come out in October, I think, close to my birthday. And for some reason or other, I didn't get an opportunity to watch it. So last week, when we decided we were going to review The Queen's Gambit, I started watching it that weekend. In the beginning, I didn't get reeled in immediately. Perhaps because of my aversion to emotional dramas that deal with PTSD, especially with children who go through intense trauma, as the lead character in this series does. But as the episodes rolled in, the heavy emotional quotient somewhat took a backseat, and the lead actress, Anya Taylor-Joy, added so much flavor and depth to her character that I wanted to know what happens next. And of course, then I kept watching. But before I go any further into today's review, I do want to say that I may mention some spoilers that you may not want to know about if you haven't watched the series yet. So please watch this with caution. There are a lot of reviews online on The Queen's Gambit that would speak to its technicalities. The setting is on point. The fashion, the styling is on point. The story moves forward smoothly. The direction, the acting, and especially the editing of this series is so remarkable that a game like chess that's not fun to watch for everyone is presented like any other major sport. And what is really remarkable is that people who don't even understand chess, like myself, like I know the basics of chess, but I've never really played chess. I was reeled into this game of chess like it would be any sport, any other sport that I'd watched, like basketball or soccer or football. It is actually acknowledged in the series itself during the World Championship that where Benny Watts, he acknowledges the lack of audience at their chess game. But my biggest personal takeaway from this series was that there was no overt display of toxic masculinity, except perhaps with Mr. Wheatley. Even her father, Beth's father, Paul, in the beginning of the series, is shown pleading with her mother to partake in taking care of Beth, but her mother, Alice, does not allow him to do that. So on the whole, almost all of the men in the series are supportive of the women, are supportive of Beth in her talent and ambition. So I found that refreshing. I personally could relate to so many of these characters in Beth's life. There's that scene when she runs into her classmate from high school, Margaret, I think her name was, who is now married with a child and has a drinking problem too, which was insinuated. Beth says to her, being around those boys is a real thrill. So she's referring to the boys who she is surrounded with in her world of chess, because there's barely any women there. There was a girl in the beginning of the series, but I don't think I saw her play with any other woman after that. After watching a lot of series with sexual violence and misogyny, The Queen's Gambit for me was a relief. I did keep bracing myself for those scenes to come though, because they happen to be in all the series I'm watching these days. But I'm so glad they didn't come. I mean, because I could relate to the male characters in this series. They are my friends. They are people who've always been in my quarter. They do exist. This is just, it just felt real. And that made the watching experience for me so much better, especially near the climax when all of Beth's chess friends, and they're all men, by the way, they come out in support of her. They support her for her game against Borgo, and they're instrumental in her success as well. And of course, how can we forget Mr. Shabelle, without whom, the janitor, without whom Beth may have never discovered the game of chess or played her first tournament that started and defined her career. Moving on to the women in the series. Women in Beth's life, whether it's her birth mother or her adopted mother, they're women with immense talent, intelligence, and potential. But as Beth says to Mr. Wheatley later on in the series, these women are stuck. That's where the patriarchal structure of the society that Beth navigates, though, with ease, owing to her own aloofness and drive, is highlighted through these other women who are unable to break the barriers and shackles around them, and they give up. They resort to substance abuse or suicide, like Beth's mother, but not Beth. She shakes up the status quo. She has her own internal fights to fight that do get her down occasionally, but she acknowledges her flaws. She takes the support she needs to get out of her downward spiral. She works on herself. She builds her confidence in herself, and she pursues her passion. For that and more, the women in her life, Jolene, her best friend, Alma, her adopted mother, and even her mom, Alice's advice that keeps popping up at the beginning of episodes, has much to be credited for. Even at the beginning of Beth's chess career, like I mentioned, there was a girl named co-contestant named Annette, who continues to be her supporter as shown later in the series. And she was also supported partly at her school by Miss Deerdorf, I think her name was, until Beth stole the tranquilizers and she overdosed on them. And of course, that didn't really end well. And I don't know if that would end well for anyone, really. In addition to showing both men and women in strong positions of intellectual power and strength, I also like that the series made a political commentary, but without rubbing it in our face. It speaks of a church group in the US offering financial support to Beth in exchange of her condemning the communists in Russia. But Beth declines to do that. And when she goes to Russia, she sees Russians, or we, the audience, see Russians as human can be. They were the same as people in the US might be or are, as opposed to what the church in the US wanted to paint them as. I thought that was very nicely done. Even her Russian opponents in the game, who we would have assumed to be mean and ungracious, they show remarkable sportsmanship and kindness when they lose to Beth. That was a very nice touch for me, and that left a smile on my face. It reminded me of my vacation in Russia when I was 14 years old. People there were people. Unlike what I've read of them, they were just as kind as people anywhere else. That always stayed with me, and I relived that feeling through this series. So the final recommendation, please do watch The Queen's Gambit on Netflix for its cinematic excellence, for its brilliant actors, for the feel-good factor, for the victory of resilience over anything that life throws your way, like today's episode of Ideas on Point, All three of my guests disappeared. Poof. But here I am, talking to myself in an empty room, talking to a computer screen. But hey, I think we got this. Thank you so much for your consistent support. Please like and share this video. Leave comments, leave suggestions of ideas for topics that you want us to talk about. I think we will be talking about a Gujarati film next time. I am not too sure which film that is going to be. We will let you know. We'll keep you updated, and hopefully my three guests will be back the next week. Up until then, please leave comments down below or just message me. Thank you for so much for your supportive messages. I keep getting on WhatsApp. I keep getting on in my private messages. Really, really means a lot. And of course, follow us on TC Stand Facebook page and subscribe to the YouTube channel, details of which are in the caption. And follow us on Instagram as well at TC Sand 2. Have a lovely, lovely weekend. Thank you.